Hey everyone, Melanie Muenchinger here, illustrator for Gina K Designs. Today I have a new project for you with my newest set from Gina K Designs, Women of Faith, and I'm going to be pairing it with my friend Teresa Momber's Window of Wishes set. So she has this beautiful window in here with all kinds of accessories that you can use to dress it up and customize it the way that you like. When this came out, I was so excited because I knew that it was going to be approximately the same size to use with this woman in the window. So the perspective of this, when you see the little flower pot and the little flowers, that would be for a much bigger window with a much smaller person inside. I'm reimagining this window to be a very small little attic window, kind of like a prayer room or a prayer closet. The products that you're going to need for doing this technique today, going to be using the Gina K sets and the MISTI. I've got the Memento Tuxedo Black, and I'm using the Gina K Lemon Drop and the Sweet Mango ink pads. A little sponge dauber for the sponge daubing, and some scissors for cutting out those window panes. I've got some of the Gina K Connect glue and the Gina K Tidy Towel. And then the cardstock that I'm using today, I've got a piece of Gina K Pure Luxury. This is 5.5 by 8.5 inches, scored at 4 1/4 inches for an A2 size card. Then I've got a piece of black Onyx cardstock we're going to layer on there that's just going to leave a nice crisp mat. This is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then we need 3 white pieces of paper for doing this technique. So this is the Pure Luxury Layering Weight cardstock. You're going to need one that's 3 7/8 by 5 1/8 for that main mat. You're going to need one that's approximately that size or smaller, but big enough for doing that window. And then finally, just a little scrap piece that's large enough to do this little window sill. So let's begin by getting this silhouette stamped out. I've already got it in the MISTI here, and I'm going to be using one of the scrap pieces. This is the one that's going to get cut. So if you're using a smaller piece than that, 3 7/8 by 5 1/8, this is the one that you're going to want to use. It doesn't have to be perfectly centered because, again, we're going to be cutting this out, but I do want to stick this just right in that corner so that I know I'm getting it lined up in case I have to restamp this. So I'm going to ink it up all over with the with the Tuxedo Black ink. And you want to make sure you don't have any little hairs or specks or things that are going to create a spot because you have this big, bold image. So you want to really make sure you get it all inked up, tilt it in the light, look to see if there's any stray little hairs. But we can stamp this again if we have a spot that is missing. All right, so we're just going to close the door here and press all over. Really get that, to get all that detail. And lift it up. Okay, that is good enough for me, but if there's a couple little spots, but if you want to re-ink it up, you can. I think that looks fine just as it is, and you can read the little faith, hope, and love. Okay, now what I want to do, I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to ink up that window, and this is going to be for those panes. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to layer this, pardon my head if I get in the way, but right over it so that the corner of her head is hitting the corner of that window. You see it's a little bit short, so we're only going to be inking the stamp up just to about here, and then that windowsill is going to cover it up there because we don't want that space. Okay, so I'm going to just close this up, pull this up again. Put these back in where it was. So we're going to ink this up, but we're only going to go, and you can put the silhouette right next to it so you can see how far down you need to go, and you can go a little bit lower, but we're just going to ink down. Make sure we get all those lines. Okay. And then close the door, press all over, and lift it up. Okay, so now what we need to do, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this then in here. This is going to be that mat in the middle, okay? So again, I'm going to ink it up, omitting that bottom part. where the sill is going to be covering it. Just press this down. Oh, and it looks like I got a little bit of ink there at the bottom. I want to make sure. I don't want to get any on there, even though I'm covering it with the sill. So go back. Let me get that dry and clean. Okay. All right, let's try that again. So press it down and lift that up. Okay, and I can go back in and I can cover that up. Just fill that in with a little pen if I need to. You could also mask off the bottom with some Post-it notes. All right, so let's go ahead and do our sponging now before we cut it out. So take this out. And I'm just going to sponge this. I'm going to start with my yellow. So this is the lemon drop. So just swirl this on here. And I'm just trying to create the look like maybe there's just a little candle in the room. And you don't have to mask it. You can go right over it because we're going to cut out the panes. So you're not going to have to worry about masking those mullions there. Okay? And then I want to add just a little bit of the sweet mango. So it's still a little bit darker than the lemon drop because there was still a little bit of orange ink on my dauber. So really getting that just at the bottom. Okay. So that's all the sponging we're going to do. And then what I want to do is I'm just going to cut these panes out now. So I'm going to go along these lines. And this is going to work just like paper piecing, where we are going to fill each of these panes into that window that I stamped. And this would probably work with some other window dies too, but I just love this window set. And if you wanted, you could also stamp this behind it, and if you didn't mind doing the fussy cutting, you could cut it out and then make it dimensional so that this window was popped up. But this is the easier way to do it. Okay, so we've got that one, this one, and then these two. And I'll cut that bottom portion off at the end because I don't want it to be too short. And then we're going to glue them in. But first we're going to do that little window pane. Okay, or that little windowsill, excuse me. All right, so this is going to go in the top corner, here, here, and here. And so you have to piece these. You can't just stamp the silhouette image and then cut it into 4 sections, because then when you move them apart, there would be too much separation and you don't have that proportion anymore if you just take it and spread it out. So this is how you have to do it. Okay, so we're going to just glue these on. I love this Connect glue. I'm going to glue that in a second. I just want to see exactly where I'm going to be putting that windowsill. And I noticed something that I could do. I always like to try to change up the card that I'm demonstrating a little bit from the one that I made and show, just so there's something of a surprise. So when there's coordinating stamps in a stamp set, I always like to try to use them. So I realized it'd be really cute if I would just put that little one of those little birds that she has on the windowsill. So that's what we're going to do this time. So I'm just going to put this here at the bottom, and I'm going to take this windowsill, and it doesn't really matter where you put it on there because this is going to get cut out. You just need to have room at the top for the bird. So you want to do the sill first and then place the bird after it. So I'm going to close this, ink it up. Oh, and I missed that little corner there, so let me do that one more time. Just that little end piece right there. Okay. All right, now let's do the little bird. So I'm going to have the one that's going to be facing her. It's going to be so cute. So I love having the opportunity to do this a second time. So I'm just going to put this here really quickly so I can see where her hand is falling and about where I want that bird to be. Okay, so I'm going to have that lined up right there. So I want the bird to be right about there. This is going to look really cute when it's cut out. Oops, I forgot to take my windowsill off. Okay, so let me redo this. So push that up. Make sure it's still lined up so it looks like it's seated on the sill. And ink that up really carefully. Normally I like to do my smaller stamps with just a tiny block, but you can do it all with the MISTI, so that's what I wanted to do today. All right, so there's our little bird sitting there. So now we're going to cut this out, and this is easy cutting too. So just right along the line. And if you want, you can pop this up with some foam tape. And I'm just going to cut this excess off real quick and then go back in there and cut the tighter areas. I find it easier when there's not a lot of excess paper sticking out. Trim off the big sections first and then go back and get those little areas. And just this last little bit. And then we're still going to have room just right between her hands and where that bird is sitting outside to put one of those little greetings. So she's got a faith, hope, love, family, friends, lots of different options. And then you could also use one of the small words in my set. Okay, so what we're gonna do here, it's just gonna go right there. So I'm gonna trim this off. And this off. I know I want this to be covered up. So that's going to get covered up too. I just went by where the bottom of the hands were. Okay, so we're going to glue these in. And I would love to try this with some different colors, maybe make one that looks a little bit more twilight, where there's some purples or blues in the room. But again, I just wanted to evoke candlelight here. Okay. So this is going to go on there just like that. And I'm just going to take a little black pen and touch that up. Here's one. So just fill that in. I always have just one handy. And sometimes I like to add my own little details or shadows. Okay. So we're going to glue this on. And then I'm going to add my greeting last. I just think that's so sweet. So tweet. Okay. And then we're going to glue this onto our mat. And I think I'm going to put hope on this one today. That's what I need right now. That's what my friend needs right now. And so we're just going to layer that right on there. Let me put this on top of the yellow so I can see around it. And okay, so I'm going to put this in the MISTI one last time and use one of those greetings from Teresa's set and do the hope. I'm going to try to avoid these magnets getting stuck together. Just be really careful. Try to keep them separate. Okay, so I'm going to put hope right there. Kind of like the bird is whispering it to her. That's so cute. Okay. All right. So Memento one last time. All right. And then we just adhere this to the card and we're done. So let me know in the comments which of these you prefer. Have a coordinating set coming out next week. I'm going to be out of town, unfortunately, so I can't attend the party, but my designing friends have agreed to add my samples, and my new stamps came today, so I'm going to be cranking out samples and videos with that. I'm going to let you know that there is some coordination between the Women of Faith set and the new one. You'll be seeing sneak peeks of it any day, and a new video coming with that new set very soon. Thank you for watching today. Please visit my blog, Hands, Head, and Heart, for more ideas and inspiration with both of these sets and all of our sets from Gina K Designs and at Gina K Designs and Stamp TV. Thank you so much for watching today. God bless.